So ESPN MMA's Brett Okamoto has just come forward and told us that many sources have told him that Belal Muhammad will be stepping in against Leon Edwards in the main event of a fight night card on March 13th. That's right, the original date of Edwards versus Chimaev. We are not going to be changing that whatsoever. Belal Muhammad, after just fighting Diego Lima for 3 hard rounds at UFC 258, will be immediately turning around to take on Leon Edwards in the main event of a fight night. You're awake right now. Belal Muhammad is the guy that's going to be taking on Leon Edwards next. Out of all the names that we were trying to figure out who might be the guy to go in there against Leon Edwards and earn himself a title shot with a win, Belal Muhammad has come up as the guy to do it. You would not have thought this yesterday, but however, this is how the MMA world works right now, and all of a sudden, I don't know if they're going to do Usman versus Masvidal anymore, because if Edwards wins, surely Edwards is going to get a title shot, and I quote from Brett Okamoto 21 minutes ago, 5 days removed from a win last weekend, Belal Muhammad, Bully B170, has agreed to replace Khamzat Chimaev in a 5-round main event against Leon Edwards on March 13th, per sources. And if Edwards wins this, it's going to be a title shot next, right? Gotta be. I truly believe that if Leon Edwards wins this one, he's got to get a title shot next in the welterweight division. I understand that Belal Muhammad is not a big name or a highly ranked guy. That's the kind of guy that would normally earn you a title elimination bout, but this is extreme circumstances. If Edwards puts another win onto his streak and makes it 8, you kind of have to give him the title shot right now. He's number 3 in the division. If he beats another ranked contender, he's probably going to shimmy above Gilbert Burns and go to number 2, just below Colby Covington. He would be the rightful guy to fight Kamaru Usman if he does beat Belal Muhammad, and I do believe he will beat Belal Muhammad, and I'm going to give an early prediction and breakdown in the second of how I see the fight going. However, I can't believe this is the world. The MMA world we are in is crazy. Of all the names, I would never have remembered the name Belal Muhammad to chuck into the list of people that would fill in against Leon Edwards. I would have never done. I would have seen, you know what, he had a tough fight against Diego Lima. He got his legs kind of chewed up, even though he won the fight very clearly and dominated every round pretty clearly. He had his legs chewed up quite badly. I think maybe he'd want a couple of weeks off, but no, Belal Muhammad is stepping in against Leon Edwards. And I can't believe it right now. Thank you, Belal Muhammad, because this clearly means that Colby Covington did not want the Leon Edwards fight on short notice. Edwards wanted to fight on March the 13th, and he wanted someone to fill in on short notice. Colby said no. Masvidal said nothing, as usual nowadays when anyone that he doesn't like the matchup with calls him out. Usman doesn't want the fight, obviously, because he's the champion, and he's going to be out for 6 months. I don't think they're going to do Usman versus Masvidal now, but let's just talk about Leon Edwards versus Belal Muhammad, because this is the reality we live in. Leon Edwards is fighting Belal Muhammad on March 13th. I'm glad that Belal Muhammad is getting a shot up the rankings. He's a relevant name right now after his big win at UFC 258, where he dominated over the 3 rounds against Diego Lima. I do believe that Leon Edwards is going to go out there and beat Belal Muhammad quite convincingly, by decision most likely. I don't see Belal Muhammad getting finished in any way whatsoever unless Leon Edwards is going to try come out there and prove a point. I see him going out there, being patient, chopping at the legs of Belal Muhammad, and I just saw in the Diego Lima fight that if it was someone better than Diego Lima, they probably could have maybe turned the tides of that fight with Belal Muhammad, because he took a lot of leg kicks, he took a lot of shots himself, he gave so many more back against Diego Lima, and it was an amazing performance. However, there were a lot of openings where a guy who's a little bit more skilled, ergo Leon Edwards, would take advantage of a guy in Belal Muhammad. If you're getting your legs chewed up that badly by Diego Lima, Edwards can chew up legs real well at a high level as well. He's beating great guys in the division. Very underrated guy in Leon Edwards. I was going to pick him to beat Khamzat Chimaev. That fight never ended up happening. He was the underdog against Khamzat Chimaev. I assume he's going to be a pretty sizable favourite here against Belal Muhammad, and I also assume that he's going to go straight for those leg kicks immediately against Belal Muhammad, because he is not going to have too much time to recover after those bad ones that he took against Diego Lima. He's going to go out there against Leon Edwards, get chewed up to the legs, won't be able to get his takedowns either, because again, in the fight with Diego Lima, he was not able to score a good takedown on Diego Lima, and I rate Leon Edwards' takedown defense way more than I do Diego Lima. I mean, Leon Edwards was doing quite well against Usman in the first 2 rounds, defensively in the grappling. Although getting out-grappled, he was still doing very well defensively. He was one of the closest fights of Usman's career up until the Covington fight later on. I think Edwards is very, very underrated. As much as there's jokes around Leon Scott, No one remembers his name. No one wants to talk about him. No one wants to fight him because of how irrelevant he is. He would mess up so many guys in that division and in any division above him or below him. He is very, very good. Nate Diaz acts like he doesn't know who it is because he doesn't want to fight him. Let's just call it how it is. Leon Edwards would slice up Nate Diaz's face. If you think Masvidal sliced up Diaz's face enough for a stoppage to happen, which it did, by the way, Edwards would completely slice open it. He might slice Nate Diaz's face off, and it might be Nick Diaz under there, in all honesty, making a secret comeback without being suspended again for 4 years. That might be what Nate Diaz is, because he really only popped up in relevance after Nick Diaz was banned from the sport. I know Nate Diaz was always a name, but he's starting to look a little bit more like Nick Diaz every single day. I don't want to start any conspiracy theories here, but is Nate Diaz secretly Nick Diaz? And maybe Edwards' elbow is going to be the one to reveal that come fight night. I'm not too sure. However, I know for a fact Nate Diaz would 100% lose to Leon Edwards. Very, very obviously, in my opinion. So would Jorge Masvidal, most likely. I think Covington would be a problem to him with the grappling. But again, let's talk about the rest of the division here. Covington, what does he do now? Does he just fight Masvidal now? What does Masvidal do? He's not fighting Usman now. There's no way. There is no way they're going to make Usman versus Masvidal next, while Leon Edwards beats Belal Muhammad if he does. Because I truly believe that Leon Edwards is going to go out there and beat Belal Muhammad. And if he does, I'm sure he's going to be getting a title shot, because that's what everyone's been talking about recently, including Dana White. The next fight for Leon Edwards going to get him a title shot. Even against Khamzat Chimaev, it was going to get him a title shot, so maybe Belal Muhammad gets him even more of a guaranteed title shot, because Belal Muhammad is higher ranked than Khamzat Chimaev in the welterweight division. Also, I wouldn't be surprised if Belal Muhammad just magically jumps over Li Jingliang in the rankings right now. He has lost to Jeff Neal, so it would be an absolute shuffle up right now if he does go out there and beat Leon Edwards, which I don't think he will. But I think Belal Muhammad likes his chances here on short notice. Leon Edwards has been out for a very long time. Belal Muhammad's been pretty active. I think he's going to go out there, try and set a pressure on Leon Edwards early and try and crack him. I just haven't seen crazy KO power from Belal Muhammad yet in his career. I haven't seen crazy pace. I saw the pace in the Diego Lima fight, but Lima was still in there. Belal Muhammad starts to get to him, but that's Diego Lima. That split decision to Court McGee, Diego Lima. You know what I mean? That's a real problem. And that wasn't a split decision to Court McGee back when Whitaker fought Court McGee. That was a not too long ago split decision to Court McGee and a split decision to Luke Jimmo, which I thought he arguably won. But again, he makes these fights very close. Diego Lima is not the best guy in the division in any way whatsoever. So Belal Muhammad going out there and winning dominantly, it was very good, don't get me wrong. But I don't think it's enough to tell me that he goes out there and beats Leon Edwards. But 100%, they can't make Usman versus Masvidal. And they were just talking about it before making this post. Brett Okamoto was literally posting about and retweeting Usman looking at fights with Jorge Masvidal. It was crazy. And now all of a sudden it's Belal Muhammad versus Leon Edwards. I don't understand how this world works, but this world works in very mysterious ways. And now Belal Muhammad, but they're not going to do Usman versus Masvidal now. They can't do. So they're going to, maybe this is for the best. Maybe this is the best thing that's ever happened in MMA ever. For a couple of days, over the past few days, I was starting to think to myself, this is the downfall of the welterweight division. We won't get Masvidal versus Covington finally. Usman's going to fight Masvidal next for a title defense against a guy who he dominated the first time and has not earned a title shot again whatsoever. And the whole ratings for how someone gets a title shot is going to be completely tarnished forever after this one. This would be so terrible if Masvidal got a title shot. But now everything's going to be okay. We're going to do Leon Edwards versus Belal Muhammad, because that's what reality we're in now. If he wins, we're going to give Leon Edwards the title shot. We're still going to get Covington versus Masvidal on tough. And we're going to get Usman versus Leon Edwards. And we're going to get Gilbert Burns versus Michael Chiesa. And maybe if Belal Muhammad wins, you can do Belal Muhammad versus Stephen Thompson. But in all honesty, I think we need to mention Stephen Thompson a little bit more here, because he seems to be left out on the sidelines. He called out Leon Edwards as well, and Edwards didn't want that matchup and now wants to match up with Belal Muhammad. How are we punishing Stephen Thompson here? I don't understand. I know he wanted to have the fight at a later date, and Leon Edwards wants to fight in March, so I understand maybe in that way that maybe Leon Edwards wants the Belal Muhammad fight and not the Wonderboy fight, because he doesn't want to wait even longer to go out there and maybe get Rona and maybe get injured and then pull out of another fight and be out for another 6 months. I'm sure he feels healthy right now. He's at his peak right now in training camp. He wants to fight in a month. Maybe this all works out other than for Stephen Thompson. And I feel bad for Stephen Thompson, but I will say this as well. I feel like Stephen Thompson should go up to middleweight and fight Jared Cannonier. Right now at middleweight, you've got Whittaker versus Costa happening soon. That's not for a belt. You've got Darren Till versus Marvin Vettori. If Vettori wins, he's probably going to fight for a vacant belt in the middleweight division, or just against Whittaker for a title shot again, because they love to make Whittaker work so hard for his other title shot, which is crazy, because we were just talking about Masvidal getting a title rematch against Usman, and Whittaker still isn't fighting for a belt after winning twice against top 5 contenders. Crazy world we're in MMA right now. I think Wonderboy should fight Jared Cannonier. If he goes up there and beats Jared Cannonier in a striking match, and by the way, Jared Cannonier, 37 years of age, 36 years of age, he's getting up there in age right now, he's coming off a broken arm. If there was a time to go up and beat Jared Cannonier, he just got rocked against Robert Whittaker in the 3rd round badly with a head kick, took some concussive damage, he's going to have been out for a while. Wonderboy's more active than ever in December. I think Wonderboy should go up to fight Jared Cannonier in the middleweight division. Winner of that one, if it's Wonderboy, takes on the winner of Costa versus Whittaker. Maybe we get a Whittaker versus Wonderboy rematch in the middleweight division for a vacant title. The winner of that one takes on Israel Adesanya coming back down to middleweight. And you could be looking at a poster in 2022 saying either Whittaker versus Adesanya 2 or Wonderboy versus Adesanya, which I just think sells itself. So I think Wonderboy, you need to realise what kind of situation you're at right now in the welterweight division, which is, it's basically fuck Wonderboy season, in all honesty. I don't know, maybe Gilbert Burns comes back against Wonderboy and Chiesa starts having to fight another contender up the rankings, but I feel like they're gonna shaft over Wonderboy because I know why. He's old, they don't want to invest in him to get a belt because they know for sure if Wonderboy goes out there and gets a belt, he's just going to vacate it and retire on the spot. He's an older guy. That's all he wants is to get the belt around his waist, and he says he's going to leave as soon as he does it. I don't see Wonderboy being the type of champion to stick around and defend to make his money. I think he's got plans to get the belt, then he's going to dip. He's an older guy. I think the UFC know that, so they're making it very hard for him to get the belt. Why not make it very difficult for him to get the belt in the middleweight division against Jared Cannonier? That way you've got 2 old guys fighting each other, and you don't have to run the risk of Wonderboy killing a young prospect, because Jared Cannonier is an old man himself. I think he should move up into the middleweight division and try things out there. He's a big guy anyway. Just fight Jared Cannonier, and if he wins, him versus Whittaker too. He's beaten Whittaker. That's a great win to have in the middleweight division, and I think Wonderboy needs to start eyeing up his other options here, because this is just crazy how this has happened all of a sudden. Leon Edwards versus Belal Muhammad. I think Edwards beats him. Elbows in the clinch, stuffs all the takedowns, leg kicks as well at range, good boxing, far better boxing than Diego Lima. I think he'll be able to sting Belal Muhammad on the nose. Belal Muhammad's been KO'd a couple of times in his career, once against Vicente Luque. Maybe he's only been KO'd once in his career, but against Jeff Neal, he basically got enough concussion worth. He basically got a KO's worth of concussions overall in the Jeff Neal fight, because he got butchered quite badly in that one, in those later rounds, but he kept it competitive. So this will be very interesting, because this still tells me, is Leon Edwards still a top contender in the welterweight division after so long off? Because as much as people don't like the ranking level of Belal Muhammad, he's probably better than Woodley right now. You know what I mean? In terms of where they're at in their careers, he's probably more dangerous than Neil Magny right now, who again is higher ranked than him. I think Belal Muhammad's got momentum. He's very dangerous, but I see Edwards getting the job done. This is MMA. This is MMA 2021. We're off to a raring start. Goodbye. Thank you for watching. Click that button up there. See you later. Toodle pip.